You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Welcome back to the Nerds Podcast. I'm Pooba, that's P, alongside me, and we're going to dive into the month of October with another horror film. And we wanted to review this one because the debut of Welcome to Derry is coming out on the HBO, and we're going to be reviewing that. And I have a thing to tell you guys at the end of this video. But let's get through this first, and we'll talk about it. Now, this, of course, is no other than It, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Pete, how are you doing today?
I'm good, brother.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, we're not going to get into the Stephen King novel. I haven't read it. I don't think Pete's read it. Now, and the book was actually published back in 1986. It was his 22nd book. At this point now, as it stands today, Stephen King has written but he's written 65 books. That is crazy. Now, we're also not going to talk about the original TV miniseries that came out in 1990. And what we're going to cover is both the 2017 and the 2019 in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Okay, so let me get into this real quickly. And, hopefully this will all come sense because we're going to be talking and reviewing the Welcome to Derry series, like I said, in HBO. But let's get into Chapter 1 right off the bat. And Pete, this kind of felt like Stranger Things to me. And I know Stranger Things came out the year before in 2016. Did you get the same feel?
No, I did not. Not while I was watching it. Now that you say that, I get it, but not while I was watching it. No, it was I guess this was a little bit more. I guess I knew what to expect here. We do know who Pennywise is, so I kind of knew what to expect. That's why I didn't get that vibe. So again, like you said, it was a TV series. It was a novel, it was a TV series, and now it's a movie. So kind of knew what to expect, so didn't really was trying to really just pay attention to the movie, pay attention to the story, as opposed to seeing if there were any similarities to anything else. But now that you say it, definitely makes sense because of the group of kids.
Yeah, and listen, not only was this both Stranger Things and the It movies casted well, but they have a similar cast member in the sense of Finn Wolfhard, who plays Richie in the movie as well. And this movie starts off in 1988. And let me tell you, poor Georgie. I never got to play out in the rain. I don't know if you did, Pete. If it's raining outside, our asses were staying home. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they try to justify it by putting a raincoat on him, but yeah, questionable parenting there, but that sets off
throughout this movie. There is questionable parenting across the board, but the town must know that something's array, right? Like even the lady, when she saw the blood after Georgie got taken into the drain, she saw the blood and she just went right back home. Like she wasn't even playing. And if we're gonna get into Chapter 1, listen, the scariest part for me in Chapter 1 was in the library. When Ben was at the table reading his book and the librarian was behind him and just kind of staring at him. It was super creepy for me. What was your scariest part for Chapter 1 for you?
So I would say there was two. And this is a definite, like the classic horror movie for me, with the effects, with the scares here and there. I do remember Ben in the library, but for me it was when they were in the garage looking at the slides, and you see Pennywise kind of like slowly being revealed in the slides, and then it kind of goes dark, and when it comes back, he's like, I guess 4 times their size inside the garage. Creepy movie, but overall very good movie to me. A great watch. I watched them both back to back. But for Chapter 1, in the garage while they were watching the slides, and he was slowly appearing in each slide.
There's a part that we briefly talked about. It made me angry. Not fearful, just angry. And this is the part where Henry Bowers, who's the main bully in the story, of course, carves an H into Ben's stomach. Now, mind you, this is the chief of police kid, right? And like, where the hell was Ben's parents prior to this? Where was Ben's parents after this fact? I mean, he had a big patch on his stomach. Pete, I was gonna ask you this, man. If that was your kid, what's going on there?
I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail.
Murder.
Dead.
Yeah,
It sucks. I grew up with with bullying, and it's something that you still hear about in this day, and it sucks. And I understand it's a story, and I get that, but it's too it's not something that doesn't exist. As far as on that scale, that's a different story. But the fact that it does exist is something that I can't stand, and yeah, it's tough to see, again, asking the same questions. Where are Ben's parents and where are Henry's parents? But we find that out later in the movie. But he's got a whole bunch of different issues though.
Listen, one of the comedic sides of it was Richie's dirty mouth, of course, had me laughing throughout the whole movie. But the other part, again, and this is all for the kids itself, because the disturbing part was there. Like, they weren't hiding kids dying. They're not hiding kids getting hurt. Like, the reality behind the movie is super disturbing. And of course, the other part that's disturbing for me was with Beverly and her dad. And the fact that she even wanted to hide that she was on her monthly cycle for obvious reasons. And I just, the movie was different because it didn't shy away from the violence towards kids. Were you okay with it? What did you think about that part?
It's something that you have to, once you see a movie is going there, that's kind of the point of no return. Am I going to continue to watch this? Is it going to be too much? Is it going to continue to cross that line, or are you okay with watching the rest of it? So yeah, I mean, it's something that was just like, okay, let's see where this is going. If it gets to be a bit too much, then that's when you have to make that decision. Okay, I'm turning this off. I'm not watching this. And this was not one of them. I understood where they were going, but I guess they kind of wanted to show what each of those children were going through behind the scenes to kind of reveal, I guess, their life, their home life. So that it was tough to watch because where it's going. But I understand it's part of her story arc.
And I think they did a great job across the board. I mean, we had, I think, 7 kids. They did a great job of, throughout both movies, kind of really connecting them to each other and the story arc and things of that nature. But, Ben tells these kids that Derry has the highest national average of missing people and even higher on kids. So, again, I'm curious to how the series is going to approach it. Are they going to kind of pull that back in a sense? Because, again, I'm just curious to how they're going to do it. But listen, great directing, really good acting on the parts of the kids. Listen, when Billy goes downstairs after seeing Georgie in the house, and he's in the corner, and it's like Pennywise using him like a puppet in a sense. Man, super eerie, creepy.
Creepy too. That was a creepy scene too.
Yeah, we all float down here. You hear it, But listen, one of the things that caught my eye after rewatching this was Ben. And Ben started talking about the big events. 1908, there was an explosion. The ironworks, I believe that was in 1935, a black spot in 1962, and of course we're in current 1988, so this is now happening every 27 years. Now, I've confirmed this. The Welcome to Derry series is going to be the 1962. So just everybody know that. This is 27 years before the movies that actually happened.
Before chapter 1.
Yes. So I'm curious if they're going to continue going backwards to give different seasons to it, which I think it's all based on the fact that how this series goes. But before I end, in chapter 1, I need you guys to check out our DC Fancast, by the way. Go check out that video. You casted Bill Skarsgård as the Joker. What did you think his performance as Pennywise, Pete?
He's great all the way around. We've seen him in a couple of things right now. I think he's one of the more established actors out here. You see him as Pennywise. I think the prosthetic teeth, he couldn't really talk too much without drooling, and of course the director thought that added to his character. So of course they didn't do anything to correct that. They let him continue to wear those prosthetics where it caused him to drool a lot, but it's also showing how vicious Pennywise is. But he's great. He's great. I've seen him in a couple of things already so far, and he's always delivers. So not surprised. This is probably one of his better roles, though.
Listen, the Loser Club, of course, kind of get together towards the end because Beverly is kind of captured by Pennywise, and when they find her, she's in this kind of this stasis, this floating thing, right? And we all float here, and we finally get it because we look up and we see all the kids are actually floating. Very eerie but cool scene to kind of look at, all the kids. But the key to ending Pennywise, of course, is you don't have any fear towards him. Well, it's easier said than done. Billy was telling them to, that scene where Billy's telling them to go because Pennywise has him in his clutches, and he's like, go away, like tough to watch that. But Richie, of course, because of his mouth, says, now I gotta kick this clown's ass, and they start hitting on Pennywise. He goes away, and that's how we end chapter 1. Now, when it comes to chapter 2, Pete, I don't know of a better casting from kids to adults. And if you do, please let me know.
No, I don't. That was one of the things I did want to speak on when we went to chapter 2 was the casting from children to adult. I don't know. I don't know which one was my favorite because they were all spot on.
Bill Hader, Richie, Jessica Chastain, Beverly, James. I always mess up this. You actually corrected me on this one before. James McAvoy. That's it. James McAvoy as Bill. And I'm not sure if you noticed, the shoe keeper was actually Stephen King himself.
Yes, I saw that.
Okay, Isaiah Mustafa. I don't know if you knew this one already, but he's Mike, of course, as the adult. Seems he's kind of crazy in a sense. Did you know he's the Old Spice guy?
Of course I did. Of course.
There's no fooling you.
I've seen those commercials. I've seen those commercials on YouTube a million times because they're amazing. He actually wanted to play Luke Cage, but of course it went to he wanted to play Luke Cage. But yeah, I knew it was the Old Spice guy. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about real quickly because Stanley kills himself as Mike is calling everyone around saying you need to come back. And he's like, I'm not going back there. And maybe he remembers because everyone seems to have forgotten all the stuff that happened at Derry. Maybe he remembers more than others, but he couldn't keep his promise, of course. So he just offs himself. Is that what? Did you have any feelings towards that? Like, do you feel like he copped out?
Oh, he absolutely copped out. If he didn't want to go through that again, and I don't blame him. One of the creepier things in the first movie was he was afraid of some painting, right? That's what it was. And when they found that thing sucking on his face, that was one of the weirder scenes in the freaking first one. So I don't blame him.
Catch him, yeah. When they catch him,
I don't blame him. He was like, "Nah, I'm not dealing with that again." So, I mean, he took it to the extreme. He could have just told them no, but I guess he didn't want to go back on his promise. But he did kill himself, so he wouldn't go through that again. Yeah, super weird scene in the first one, but yeah, he bowed out right away.
Yeah, listen, and when they finally get together, they're in the Chinese restaurant. Really set the tone for chapter 2, in my opinion, when they get back to Derry. And, they don't remember anything. Like they have no details of anything, which is super weird. But there is one thing that kind of popped out to me in the Chinese restaurant. Did you not see the Teocelus from Alien Earth on the table, the eyeball?
Now, I did see the eyeball. Obviously, it was the first one or second one that came out. I don't remember if that. I don't know if that was exactly the Teocelus from Alien Earth.
Its first appearance was in It Chapter 2. But then we, of course, that was a crazy scene as well. But then Bill gets back to Mike's crib, and he puts something in his drink, man. I think that was so messed up. Like, he had him tripping.
Well, yeah, but wasn't the fact that they couldn't remember things because they left? The only one who could remember stuff was Mike because he stayed.
Maybe Stanley.
Well, yeah.
That's crazy. Now, listen, one of the scariest scenes in this whole Chapter 2 portion of it was the little girl underneath the stands. When she went underneath the stands, and of course she talks to Pennywise. Pennywise does this whole thing like, I'm not a stranger. If I meet you, I introduce us. That means so kids, anybody that actually does an introduction on the spot, please stay away from. Not a safe zone at all. But and I know I'm jumping kind of scenes here, but the other scene that broke me like, oh wow, was the Billy scene inside the mirror maze. And Pennywise goes full on invincible with his head against the glass, and there that flashing between blood and mirror. Again, love the direction here, love the way they did. Did you have a scarier scene or something that kind of stuck with you in Chapter 2?
Oh, without a doubt. One of the funniest things was when everybody's showing up back at the Chinese restaurant, and Ben walks in, and they're like, "What happened to you? You're freaking hot now." Because he was the chubby kid in Chapter 1, but then he was all that baby fat was gone. So that was funny to see him kind of to see what he grew up into, but The craziest part for me in this one was when Beverly goes to her old house and she interacts with the old lady that's living there now. I see her walk. She walked a little funny in the background, and I said, "Okay, yeah, something's up with her." And then she walked by naked. I said, "Okay, let's see where this goes." And then she came out very similar to the painting that Stanley was kind of afraid of in Chapter 1, and she was kind of like a giant, and she was naked, and it was super odd. She had like something that we watched already. She had a face similar to that. Her face was crazy as well, super creepy all the way around. But that to me in Chapter 2 was the one that took the cake. Was insane.
Yeah. That was insane. It reminded me of a movie where the kids are staying with their grandparents, but it's not their grandparents. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head.
The Visit.
Now. The Visit. You can't. That's what it reminded me of just a little bit. That night walking when she was doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Another movie. Go see that one. That was actually a really good one. I didn't get the bully guy. I forget his name now, but Henry. How he fell. He was still alive. I know he offed his dad, but there's a scene where he has one of the guys in the shower, stabs him in the cheek. The guy grabs the knife from the cheek, stabs him in the chest, and he still has the energy to go through the window. I don't know how the drop was. Still get in the car and drive off with the guy that looks like Kylo Ren, zombie version of him. That one kind of threw me off just a little bit, but But let's get to this. They now have to go deeper in Chapter 2 into the lair, like going into the rabbit hole. At this point, they're like the Earth's crust. Like they have to go down into the basement, down into a well, and even deeper down there. The one thing that got me the biggest jump scare of that was the little dog. Did you jump when the dog turned?
Yeah, well, not jumped, but I was just like, yeah, that's not just gonna stay that way. I mean, we are watching a horror movie, so something's gonna happen.
Yeah, listen. Uh, Another part for me, of course, Richie, who Bill Hader, I think, stole the show for me in chapter 2 completely. But he's throwing rocks because Pennywise has Mike in its grips. He's throwing rocks, and he calls him a slobby bitch. And in the middle of throwing a Rick, he's like, "Yippee ki and he gets stuck real quick. Then Eddie, of course, is convincing himself because everything that they think and feel becomes real in that world. Hence why in chapter 1, the chamber was empty, but in Billy's head, it was full, so he was able to shoot and kill Pennywise. Here, he had the spear, I guess, throws it, and Pennywise, of course, kind of goes down. Any thoughts on those scenes right there as they're fighting this big, crabby Pennywise?
No, just looking at the way the look of the movies was great too. The special effects was great. So just kind of just consuming everything while I'm watching it. Another quick one. Now that you mentioned Stephen King as a cameo, the director is also shown in the pharmacy when Eddie goes to pick up a prescription.
Yeah.
Behind him is the director, Andy. I can't pronounce his last name, but that is the director in the Andy Muschietti, I believe it is. Muschietti. He's the director, and he's actually there's actually a cameo of him in the he's in the aisle, in one of the aisles behind.
That's when the girl tells him that he has like something with his penis is dirty or infected or something like that. But again, same thing, right? So they tell Pennywise how small he is. Basically, the power that Pennywise has, this loser group, is what they give him. That's what it is, and he turns into this small little clown with his little baby arms, and he starts kind of crumbling away. And they just, Mike goes in for I guess because he's a butcher as well as a butcher's kid, so grabs his heart out. They all squeeze it, and that's the kind of the ending of Pennywise in chapter 2. And it looks like it's the end for Pennywise for good. Did you catch that they had Nightmare on Elm Street? Again, we reviewed this movie as well, but at the movie theater,
yes,
so it was Elm Street 5. Again, just to give you guys a connection, this is New Line Cinema. It's the house that Freddy Krueger built, and if you don't know that story, go check out our other video when we reviewed Elm Street. I gotta say this though, I did not like the ending portion of it due to the fact that they made Stanley's suicide almost like a hero. That he did what he did to get the group together, and if he was there, they would not have beaten Pennywise. I think they could have changed that up because there's no glory in suicide at all. So that's just me. Were you okay with the ending overall?
To me, that was just a smaller part of it. I like the fact that it was a running joke about Bill, his character. Nobody liked the ending to his books, so that Mike had made a comment about the ending to the book. I guess he was currently writing. I like the fact that Beverly and Ben ended up together. That to me was bravo. Bravo.
Yeah, listen, the new kid, right? She was calling him new kid all the time.
He was in love with her, and I was really happy about that because and again, something else that we're seeing from chapter 1. You saw that how she was with her dad in a very strange relationship with her dad, and it was just both of them. And then you see her as an adult before she meets up with the losers. She's in an abusive relationship as an adult. So to see her get with someone who's gonna treat her like she should be treated was good. Was absolutely good to see.
Yeah, that was probably the better part of the ending. I 100% agree with you. Okay, guys, now for the secret. So yes, I already told you that we're going to be covering Derry Welcome to Derry. But we're going to have a guest alongside us covering throughout the series, and none other than the special guest that comes on our show, Enchanted Izzy. Enchanted Izzy will be here on the Nerds Podcast covering Welcome to Derry on HBO, which comes out October 26th. Our videos should be coming out post Tuesday, so please look out for that as well. Pete, I love covering these Halloween movies with you. Hopefully we could do another one before Halloween ends and take us home.
We will return.
The worst episode ever.